What I've seen people do wrong is post their profile picture with a mask on.
Oh,
And, it's making a statement, which is lovely, but don't make that your profile photo. We can't see your freaking face.
that's
It's just
funny.
like, I've seen so many of those.
Did you push record?
Thanks so much for tuning back into Second Act TV. Today I'm continuing my conversation with the dating coach, dating expert for women over 40, 50, and beyond, Sandy Weiner. Sandy, thanks so much for staying over.
My pleasure, Soka.
We just finished our segment. It's funny that we're still talking about this. Well, not funny. It's sad, I suppose. We're still talking about dating in this brave new world. The pandemic has changed everything. What I'd like to do in this segment is the people you're out there, you either have been dating, it's been interrupted, or we don't know when it's ever going to change, and I do want to get out there. I do want to find love again. Why don't we start with, what are the best dating sites, and how do we adapt those changes to the platforms that are out there?
So there is no magic best dating site, and I really believe this is a very individual thing. People find love on every single site, every single day. I like to recommend a big site like Match.com because it has a huge database. A lot of the specialty sites like Meet Mindful, they often don't have enough people so that you get frustrated when you've gone through the whole, repertoire. So I recommend going on something big and maybe OkCupid, which is a free site. Plenty of Fish, a lot of people find. I don't think those sites for people over 50 are necessary. I have never really recommended them. I have clients on Zeus, so all of them work, and it's what you get comfortable with. And it's also what's going to be good in your area. We all have different databases based on where we live. I also love the swiping apps, and the reason I like them is because they're very low energy for you, and so you invest less in the process. The downside is that they're also investing less, and so there's a lot of like, oh, I'll just swipe everybody, and then I'll either connect or not connect. But people find love on the apps, they find love everywhere. So I recommend try something, try it for a month or two. I've gone in and out. Like Facebook dating is another app. It started probably about a year ago, and they have it's a separate part of the Facebook app, and you sign up for it. And what's interesting about the Facebook dating app is it pulls from your groups, from your friend base, and so there is some sense of I kind of know this person, sort of. You might feel a little more comfortable with something like that. And I'm telling you that people find love on all of the above. So just try it. Sometimes it's good to try it, leave it, come back to it, see if there's a whole new group of people that may be better for you.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting you say that. You said two things. One, I was on Match. We've talked about that before, and my boyfriend, that's where we met. Been together for 8 years. I'm a big fan. I personally, I can't, the swiping thing just I haven't done it, so I shouldn't talk badly about it, but that just doesn't appeal to me at all. But what you're saying is that really forget about the age, that like the over 50 or silver singles or whatever, that it's really about having as many players, and not players, but as many people there as possible to get a good a database of eligible bachelors, so to speak.
Yeah, but not to say that Our Time and Silver Singles and all those other sites don't work. They do. But what I've found is my clients who've been on them have run out of people quickly.
Okay.
And often the database is much older than they are or than they're willing to date. So that's why it's nice to have choice, and figure out how big of an age gap you're willing to go with. And, why not date a lot younger or a lot older? Again, open to possibilities.
Well, so how do we adjust or adapt, I should say, our dating profiles now? I know you said that it's not the same anymore.
It's not the same anymore. And what I've seen people do wrong is post their profile picture with a mask on.
Oh,
And, it's making a statement, which is lovely, but don't make that your profile photo. We can't see your freaking face.
that's
It's just
funny.
like, I've seen so many of those. And so, maybe include that as one of your pictures, just to show that you are pro mask, which I think is nice that people know, like you're not walking around being really irresponsible. But take some new selfies. I think a lot of women are complaining that they have like the skunk line in their hair from not dyeing their hair for 4 months. But salons are opening back up. You don't have to take a picture from with the camera over your head. You can find a friend even who social distances and takes pictures on their phone. I mean, our phone cameras now are great. So update your photos. Take photos in a few different outfits. Take them outdoors. It's a beautiful time of the year now in most of the world. And you can be outside, which is the best light. And yeah, I mean, people don't want to look at 5-year-old pictures, which is also a big problem on a lot of dating sites. It's like, this is me 5 years ago. Well, I don't know what you're going to look like today. So, truth in advertising is really, really important. We want to have updates and, don't be so hard on yourself, but you do want to show your full length, your full body, even if you're not thrilled with what your body looks like own it and rock what you got.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. If you're eventually going to get out, you don't, yeah, you don't want to be disappointed in the person you meet, and vice versa. You just, like you said, own it. Uh, how do you, what is your best advice for being noticed in a profile, or be engaging, I suppose is the word I'm looking for? How's that changed?
I don't think it's changed. I think that people just generally don't know what to do. And I think that, women tend to wear black, which is the worst because you blend in a sea of black clothing. Wear color. Red is known to be like a sexy color that attracts men. If you don't look in red, then purple or whatever color looks good on you, but wear something that's going to have you stand out. That's the whole purpose of your profile, is that somebody's going to notice you, and they won't notice you if your picture's blurry or you're in a group of friends and they don't know which one is you. The brain uses too many calories when it's trying to figure things out. If you've ever looked at an advertisement and you're not sure what they're talking about, you're not going to spend a lot of time there. You're like, I don't know, they selling candy or clothing? I'm not clear, so I'm not going to buy anything. And it's the same thing with online dating. Be as true to yourself as you can be. Maybe wear something that's a conversation piece, a piece of jewelry. Pictures from travel are great because somebody can talk about it, or a hobby. If you're outdoors gardening, if you're on your bike, if you've run a marathon, but a little of a lot of things, not one thing a lot. You see some people just take like 5 shots from the same day of them in a marathon, and that's all we know is one note. We want to be harmonious, many notes.
Well, that in and of itself says something about you then, if that's what you have, 5 marathon pictures.
Not necessarily. It could be they're just underrepresenting themselves. People who don't post I mean, we don't really know a person until we know them.
Yeah.
A profile is not a person, but we want to try and post something that's as authentic to us as we can.
Well, that's a really good point. So I just jumped to a conclusion.
You did.
See, don't do that. You don't want to do
Right,
that.
but that's what people do when you don't represent yourself more fully.
Right.
So people will automatically judge. It's what we do. We're trying to discern and be safe and find the right match. And so we're not gonna necessarily contact somebody who represents themselves poorly.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean that they are that person. So we don't want to do that.
Good point. Great point. What about writing about yourself? Just some immediate do's and don'ts.
Don't list a whole bunch of adjectives. Talk about what they are to you. So we tend to say things like, I'm creative and I'm smart and I'm adventurous, but that could be anything. Just like the guy in the marathon is not just a marathon runner, Creative could be musical, it could be artistic, it could be, a thousand different things. It could be the way you put a room together. So we want to really give a glimpse, like little stories about what we do and why we do it. And we tend to forget the why. People post resumes, for a profile. I once had a guy on my podcast whose whole bio was how much money he made. It was, I sold this company for this amount and this one for that, and it was like millions of this. And I'm like, is this all this guy is just a bunch of money? Like, that's what it felt like. So, in the same way, like, we want to represent a little of this and a little of that. Like, do you cook something special? Are you known for, do you hate to cook? So don't put cooking down. But like maybe you're known for your signature dish. Put it down. Paint a picture for someone that could step into your life, could feel like, oh, there's room for me here. I think a lot of people also paint a picture that's not realistic. They paint a picture that's like, my perfect mate is an amazing communicator. He makes a lot of money. He's doing all these things. And it's a lot of men would read that and go, oh, she's not looking for me. And guys will say, she has to be fit and she has to be super active and travel with me. And some may mean that, and some may just be wishing for that. So a lot of times the profile is just a wish list. It's like, I really, really want that, even though I'm really overweight. I don't travel at all. And I just, but I love a woman like that.
That's funny, but it's so true. It's absolutely true. You do. You're bringing your wish list, and yeah, how realistic is that? Well, and of course, the outcome of whatever you put out there. Initially, you need to communicate more directly, right? I
Absolutely.
mean, I
So
think that we
I,
agree. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I think we agree that getting to a first date in the old world was, the goal, getting together, which is now no longer the case. I think we're classifying the first date as a virtual date, and we'll talk about that in our next segment. But what kind of initial communication do you recommend to decide if you want to do a virtual date?
yeah, so find something in the person's profile that you like and ask a question about it. Tell them why you liked it. Tell them a little about yourself, but make it really, really short. People tend to write too much, or women will wait for a man to initiate contact always because they were told in some silly rules book that that's the right way to do it. And then again, you're letting life happen to you instead of taking control of what you can. And men love when women reach out, and it's like, and the more you can really hone in on something, you're seeing that person, you're seeing something you like, and that's very flattering. Oh, that person sees that in me. We have something to talk about. So this dating coach that I follow, Matthew Hussey, talks about it as if we're dropping a handkerchief, like in the old Victorian days. We didn't ask somebody out. A woman would drop a handkerchief and a guy would pick it up. That's kind of what we're doing here. We're just saying, hey, green light, you can come over here now. I'll talk to you.
So much to learn. Sandy, thank you. We will, of course, link to all of your information. I know that you have a course that addresses the whole dating during the pandemic these times, and how to navigate those waters. So we'll link to all of that. Is there anything else you want to leave us with on this segment before we come back and talk about how to virtual date?
I think we've said so much here, but I really want to encourage people to get out of your comfort zone and learn some skills because it's not natural for most of us to do this. Having online conversations with total strangers can feel really awkward. But like in the course, I give like 100 questions that people can ask. So you have choices and you can really get creative and make connections that nobody else is making out there, which helps you to stand out.
Yeah. Yeah, terrific. Well, thank you, Sandy. And yeah, do leave your questions and comments. If there's something specific that you'd like us to address in a future segment, we'd love to hear that too. And Sandy, we'll see you on our next segment of Second Act TV. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. The button is right over here. Just click on through to YouTube, and when you see the little bell right next to the subscribe button, hit that too. We'll notify you every time we launch a new video. See you next time.